Bismillah. All right, we officially have audio. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Quack and Smite League friends and family. I'm going to be your host for tonight, Jane Lamb. I'm joined by my good friend, Red Sniper.
Hello, hello.
I'm glad all of you could join us here this evening. We have a little bit of a late night set tonight, but that's okay. It's going to be an exciting one. We've got the Zeus Juice going up head to head with the Boony Gang.
Yeah, this should be an interesting matchup tonight. So Zeus and Boony Gang, um, looking to kind of get their season on the right foot now. Had a couple of hiccups earlier on. After week two, because week three, we'll just say it didn't happen. Um, but both of these teams Um, both of these teams looking for their first set win. Booney Gang have won 2 games. Zeus Juice yet to win a game so far this year, or this season, I should say. And yeah, we'll see how this one pans out in the end. According to the predictions from the podcast, if you asked Joe, he had this one 2-1 to the Guans. Or sorry, 2-1 to Zeus Juice. In fact, all three of us had 2-1 to Zeus Juice. So according to the podcast at least, we're in for a long night, gentlemen.
Be a little bit unfortunate, but actually, you did remind me of something. Since we're all here, might as well go ahead and take this opportunity to give a special shout out and happy birthday wishes to our good friend Joe. Happy birthday, my man.
Yay, bonsai. Congrats. Congrats.
I forget how old he is exactly. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me, Joe.
Too stinking young, all you whippersnappers.
Us whippersnappers. And here we go right into the picks and bans. Let's see. Are we, Red? Do you think we're going to see any unusual picks or bans today?
It is possible, with these teams at least, that the spice could be around the corner. But for the most part, I think at least for bands, they'll probably be pretty standard. Um, Looking for, Tiamat, Set, Gilgamesh. They seem to be the primary bands so far this season, and it would not surprise me to see them also taken off the table during this set.
I would not be surprised in the slightest. They're already extremely powerful gods, and just like we said, Gilgamesh will be the first one banned, followed immediately by Tiamat. That makes absolute sense.
Yeah,
Those are two
Gilgamesh is very versatile. And also drop kicks just suck. I mean, just they just
so
do.
much setup.
Yeah, and Tiamat, of course, the only god in the game where she can out pressure your lane even when she's not there. So it's exactly it's close enough, or broken enough that first round ban pretty expected. And here's the other one that's kind of been on again, off again. It's Morgan Le Fay, brand new god ever since June 27th. She's been available, so about a week now. And teams either don't really think she's all that special, or if you have a skilled player, Morgan's been doing quite well. Um, Sobek, always a strong pick, very aggressive support, will also be taken away. And finally, for Zeus Juice, they will ban away the soul. So good flex pick, the soul, and that one taken off the table.
We'll see Loki banned as the final
May the
pick
gods of
for
Valkyrie
the Boony
surround
Gang,
you!
which will end up having Margiela lock in the Odin. They'll respond by picking up Osiris. This is, I actually find this really interesting. I do like that matchup. That's definitely going to be a great pickup from both teams, but I think it's a very early lock in from the Odin. Odin can definitely be a great pick, especially if they have gods that don't have a lot of jumps to get over the wall and get away from the cage. but locking it in so early means that they're aware of that pick, and they can pick up those gods to get away from it.
Well, that is true. As long as he has a good CC base behind him, tends to be pretty good. Remember, the Odin also, if he allows the three pulses, will have the stun as long as he hits with the spear.
Correct.
And he's also knock up immune in his
You're
three
not
as
going
well. So
anywhere.
been getting a lot of love lately, even in the SPL, and so we see it trickle down to the QSL. So very interesting so far.
Tremble beneath the
Has
waves.
Jing Chen going to be picked up? And here is the Yamoja. So Yamoja, very, very good for just keeping everybody alive and sustaining those fights. Jing Chen, of course, the washing machine can just slice, dice, spin, and poof, you don't exist anymore. So uh, some
He
good.
Face
has
the
he has the
bitter
Beyblade
winds
to
of
rival King Arthur.
Niflheim!
Yeah, that's true. And it looks like we have our first carry picked up. It's going to be the Heimdall. So Heimdall hasn't been getting much love lately, but still a very good pickup. Especially with his third auto. He's got the three quarter 1.5 auto, and so can clear very quickly, but can also turn fights with the ultimate, utilized more often to isolate a particular opponent, to turn fights from a 5v5 to a 4v5. You deal with the four, and then hopefully you have someone killed off by the time that person comes back from Muspelheim. And here is the Raijin. All right. So again, Raijin getting love in this set.
Raijin is certainly a very good god, and he does have quite good poke. His abilities are just really strong. He's overall just a really solid pick in the current meta, and his ability to get out of those cages where he's stuck in an unfortunate situation, or just set up for his team with the taiko drums. It's just a really, really good pickup. We do see a wheel expand by the Boony Gang and on her banned out by Zeus, and Boony Gang will finalize with a Scylla ban.
Yeah, the on her or the wheel expand is kind of expected with the Odin there. Odin has that nice big tall leap. Um and as soon as he goes up into that leap, I mean, Wheelix is just looking for it. So kind of interesting, however, that it was B Gang that was the one that decided that they didn't want it rather than Odin, rather than Zeus who picked up the Odin. So kind of scratching the head a little bit there, but I'm sure they have a reason for it, as they still have yet to pick up a jungler over on the side of Boony Gang.
They do pick up Rama though, and they can certainly benefit off of him. He can put in quite a bit of work in the mid to late game, especially in this attack speed focused meta. Once he picks up that Silver Branch bow, his 50% stem on his 2 can go in pretty ham. On the subject of going ham, though, we got Baba Yaga and Sun Wukong being hovered. Both are locked in as
Time
well.
for some fireworks.
That's a rather interesting pickup. I don't see a whole lot of Baba Yaga, but she does certainly have some solid late game scaling.
I mean, Baba Yaga's very, very strong. Her abilities, as long as you can utilize her potions well, she is a menace. And the ultimate, with Home Sweet Home, she can do massive damage very quickly. The issue for her is going to be getting through that early game. Raijin can pressure her
You
out
are
very
finished!
easily. One, two, three, four. Once she gets the ultimate on, as long as she's getting support from, I'm guessing it's going to be a Wukong in the jungle. Um, well, maybe not. It could be the Odin in the jungle.
It is Odin jungle. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
with Odin in the jungle, yeah, we'll see how this pans out and how she's going to be able to utilize that up against what looks to be an Osiris jungle.
very interesting. And wait a minute. It would appear as though Drunk Diplomat and Castler are switching up their normal roles. We have Drunk Diplomat on the carry and Castler on the Raijin in the mid lane. nor I'm used to seeing Kessler in the carry lane. So I'm interested to see how this is going to end up turning out.
Yeah, maybe they have something. Maybe they've been working on something, or maybe they in scrims decided it was just mix things up a little bit. But we'll see how this pans out as we are getting into game number 1. Just taking a look at the total team comps right now. Who do you like, Jaren?
Just looking at the raw team comps, honestly, the raw team fight potential that the Zeus Juice has in this game is going to be absolutely incredible because Odin Cage, Yamoja, the two of them can absolutely lock them in while just you have Sun Wukong and Baba Yaga just blasting them with damage. Heim, if somebody gets out of it, he just yeets them through the next 12 dimensions, and then they come back, and the team fight's already over. So I think it's going to be a really strong team fight coming from the Zeus Juice, but we do also have a lot of good poke and CC coming out from the Boony gang as well. The Raijin and Jing Chen is going to be really nasty as well. The Raijin and Jing Chen is going to be really nasty.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
really is
The
going to come
Raijin
down,
and Jing
I
Chen
think,
is gonna
to
be really nasty.
how the mid and jungles are going to work together, especially the jungles. We know that Osiris likes to dive. He's even got, King of the Underworld, the ultimate, where he can just dive into a team comp and wreak absolute havoc. He dives in, he throws the tether, he gets some stuns, he just starts running people down, as we see right now. But even working that, we know that he is going to be an oppressive jungler if he wants to be. But it's going to be up to Quarren to play that aggressive style. Because once Osiris gets behind, it's very difficult for him to come right back up.
By the way, just echo. I'd have 2 audio sources on at the same time. I accidentally muted myself. That is very awkward. I have been talking the whole time. Oh no. Going into this, Fred, look at this dual lane. Who do you think is going to end up getting the pressure? Is it Jing Chen and Rama with some really solid early clear? Or are you looking at the Yamoja and Heimdall?
Honestly, just coming down to the supports, because Rama basically instant clears at level 3. Level 2, level 3, he's gonna clear the wave quite easily. It's gonna come down to how Jing Chen is gonna be able to get in the face of Heimdall and the Emoja and not allow them to get the proper or minion damage. Because you know, mid lane here a little bit of an engagement, but Raijin getting poked out effectively by the Baba Yaga, and there's the Oxform to get the knockup, and Sub, who has been the support for a while now, is actually playing in the solo lane, but Aquarin will fall first, and Justin will pick up first blood here in game number 1.
I suppose I can't say I am 100% surprised. It is Justin and Justin who they have the same name. They're guaranteed to have good synergy. It's just a law of nature, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, they have to be able to read each other because, I mean, one of them, at least one of them has to be just in time to save the other. You're welcome, chat.
The way opens!
Something tells me we're gonna have a lot of those jokes tonight.
It's Smite After Dark, man. I am already got whiskey in hand, so...
Ah, yes. My man. It's that time of day. It's gotta be 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah, about 4 hours ago or something like that.
Come on, lines.
Yep.
Although looking at the solo lane, it looks like Meiju will end up getting level 5 first over Margiela. Margiela's definitely going to be running into a little bit of trouble here. If he wants to get the advantage in the solo lane, he's definitely going to have to find his Achilles heel and really press it hard.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult though. He is going to be able to get the poke out with the cudgel. The problem is early on, he's not going to have the cooldown fast enough to be able for that to be effective. So boxing won't be the worst thing in the world for him. It's just going to be very, very difficult for him to actually fight against sub in that solo lane. Especially since, you know, last season we saw Sub Killer absolutely wreck people in that solo lane all season last season.
Just
So
out of the charts consistently.
yeah,
Of course, and then there was an enemy god who just showed up.
yeah. Well, an enemy god did an enemy god thing. So Arctic Fox saying it's 3:30 a.m. here. Ouch.
Ooh, yeah, this is a
Feels like it's
strong
3:30
one.
a.m. for me.
Where do you think you're going?
But
so
Zeus just
far-
picking up the quick first blood here. How do you think that's going to affect them, and at least maybe a potential rotation? Because it happened in the mid lane, didn't happen in the duo, didn't happen over in solo. But the Quarren getting a little greedy did manage to pick up one of the back camps, but oh, Justin stopping the back of death just because he can. You want a lazy back, you can lazy back somewhere else, not right here.
Not in my domain, he says. But taking a look at the grab cell, so far, XP is extremely close. Only about 200 in favor of the Boony Gang. Gold difference about 200 to 300 in favor of the Boony Gang. Very, very similar numbers here. Very close game. Despite that one kill, first blood advantage for Zeus, Boony Gang is taking a very slight advantage for themselves. So,
And I am sorry to chat, but there's your prediction. You got 1 minute. Who's going to win game number 1? Is it going to be Zeus Juice or is it going to be Boony Gang? Sorry for not getting that up to you earlier. Sorry, go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, you're
For
fine.
that.
oh, you're fine, man. But going back to your question, I honestly don't think it's going to be a huge impact. Boony Gang is still more than capable of getting themselves out of that. We see the Odin cage coming out onto the Achilles as well. He's going to end up popping ult onto Sun Kong. And they're all going to be very, very low. Sun Kong now popping the Somersault Cloud. Zephyr's into trouble. Jing Chen with the washing machine, though, is going to toss Margiela, or, excuse me, he's going to toss
For all I
Justin, who, into tower, but he will end up getting out with...
Good blink, great recovery. Even into tower, instantly goes for the jump, the leap, and the save. So, again, maybe not exactly what you're looking for, but you got out, you got the kill, and hey, it could have been much, much worse. Drunk Diplo
have-
putting a lot of pressure onto Rai over
My
here.
vigil.
And the snipes are good!
Beautiful snipe. That was a beautiful snipe from Drunk Diplomat. Wow. That is a great use of the ultimate. And especially with him already having Ichthval up, against that Heimdall, he's gonna have a lot more attack speed. Heimdall does also have his own Ichthval up, but his natural attack speed, it's just so much harder to get through. Stage says Drunk Diplomat is just too good. Well, we'll have to see how it turns out. So far, he's doing pretty good for himself. How does he hit those snipes drunk?
Well, you know, even a blind squirrel finds a nut now and again.
Stages says, I wish I could hit snipes like him. I wish I could hit any abilities like him.
Ooh, ultimate coming out from the Emoja, getting tossed back in, Olive getting focused down. as the Taiko drums will come out and the Odin cage can be utilized, but it's not going to lead to any deaths. Some good HP trades back and forth, but no big deal. Oh, his Drunk Diplomat now getting pressured out by Rai, and he's going to be forced into the ultimate. The snipes coming through. There's one, there's two, there's three, and Rai will drop over in the duo lane. That's the double solo kills over in the duo lane. Sorry, Rai, you just got soloed.
Oh my lord, Drunk Diplomat is going off tonight. He's looking extremely comfortable on this Rama.
I mean, we did ask the question, you know, normally Drunk Diplomat's in mid, and Castler's usually out there on the wing playing in the duo lane, but now, maybe this is what they were going for. Drunk Diplomat now 2-0-0, soloing Rai twice. So we'll see how this pans out, if maybe the duo lane is what they try to push through, as we start to look at potentially the game moving into more of the mid game, the rotation starting to have their effects here at 9.5 minutes in. And man, these duo laners are just, these carries are just going at each other.
They're playing a little bit like solo laners, just duking it out as much as they can. They're having themselves a little vibe over there.
It's almost like watching solo lane at distance.
It really is. Although speaking of solo lane, we now see Margiela getting a 1-level lead on Raijin here. He is now level 11. Meiju's level 10 as we see quite a scuffle coming out over that totem. Getting very competitive to give their team that totem coup. How do you think this solo lane is going to continue going into this mid?
I mean, it really does come down to ultimate usage, because you're going to see Sub utilizing every tool available in his kit, but the problem is if he can execute effectively, it doesn't really matter how many tools, tricks, whatever Margiela is going to be able to do, as long as Sub can get those executes off, because he can turn any fight that way. Also, not being ahead, being just slightly down, is really going to hurt Sub Killer in the later game. Now, that being said, he seems to be fighting right now and proxying quite effectively, because here we go in the mid lane. A Corrin's going to have to jump out. That is the ultimate utilized, and home sweet home means fountain sweet fountain for a Corrin. Goodbye to the Osiris, and that's another kill for Zeus Juice.
Osiris is the Lord, so he's going to be going straight back to the afterlife once again. We see a huge Oak Cage and Fitness Cycle coming up from Jing Chen. We got a lot of low health bars coming out. They're going to have to back up. Kessler will end up picking up the kill onto Justin as he plays ulting the Odin, who will end up picking up the kill onto Kessler instead. He's now trying to escape for his life, no health or mana. It will be Meiju ends up picking up that kill with a 2 for 2 trade in the mid lane.
Yes, for 2, ultimately. So, Corrin just respawned.
Although, that small deficit that Subkiller had just a minute before, it's not looking like much of a deficit now. He's
No, it's practically gone.
He's actually got a half-level lead on Martial now.
Ooh. Yeah, I see that. And now they are going to start up the Fire Scorpion. So the Boony gang pushing things forward just a little bit more. They will pick up Scorp on the right-hand side, meaning now Blue and Speed going to be empowered. But Subkiller, using what mana he has, that is going to be the big test here. Are you going to be able to pop off those abilities? But here comes the gank. Justin Hu comes over the blink. The Odin cage. There's the Spectral going to be able. The Spectre going to be used. And just dashing out, but the Odin takes an extra shot, and that means Justin Hu will go down, and Margiela will trade. So Sub ends up going 1-for-1 there, even on the counter gank. And now Margiela doesn't have the ultimate to get out of this, so he is stuck. The Oxform will be utilized, but no beads available. That is going to be a dead monkey.
Beautiful play from Subkiller. He stalled just long enough for the rest of his team to show up and counter that. As we see a solo kill coming out from Rylan with Drunk Diplomat.
Well, he wanted one back, so Drunk did it to him twice. He gets one back. Come on, Rai, you need one more just to make it even.
Man,
That
that
will
was
mean that Greater Scorpion will be picked up here by the likes of Boony Gang. Or sorry, by Zeus Juice. So trading 1-for-1 on the Scorpion so far.
Boony Gang will end up picking up the Pyromancer though. Great awareness, seeing that they were going for the Scorpion on the other side of the map. They gave them more than enough time to just go ahead and pick off the Pyromancer. That's really good objective control.
I will.
Especially since they've already taken the solo side tier 1 tower. That definitely gives them a lot more space to be working with. Definitely going to feel more comfortable in the jungle. So looking at totals, I'm seeing a little bit of a mismatch of level leads. We have a slight half level lead in the solo lane. We have pretty even in jungle. Half a level for the Zeus Juice. In mid, a level lead from the ADC for Zeus Juice as we see go through the rivers of as well as Zeus Juice will end up securing the go through those. We see Tiger Trust as well being pulled. Home Sweet Home dropping in on top. As Margiela will end up picking up pass around, will end up killing a Corin as well. Drunk Diplomat will find rapid coordination. And now the scuffle will continue in the Gold Fury as we see Heim trying to get out, teleporting through the Bifrost, just trying to escape with his life already low HP mana. Drunk Diplomat will end up falling to Margiela. That's another kill. Now Rylan is extremely low though. He's gonna have to be careful with Subkiller right on him. His team is there to help. Subkiller is gonna end up falling to Margiela as well. 3 total kills for Margiela, 4 in total for the team. That'll be a huge fight for the Zeus Juice.
Yep, well done on both sides. Margiela now isn't quite done yet. Will get the stun onto Destiny. He'll back away. He'll start taking. Margiela will take the tier 1 tower, and that will be the first tower to fall in game number 1. Zeus Juice working it pretty good so far. We'll start macking on this tier 2 tower, and Dest will show up. Rai and Margiela pretty healthy, but not gonna push things that far as tier 1 in the mid also goes over to Zeus Juice. Now net worth going squarely in favor of Zeus Juice as 3 members will top the charts there. And now we're looking more like the wave that we saw previously, where things were just slowly, almost inevitably rolling down the hill towards Boony Gang. One good team fight, one Gold Fury, and the swing comes right back to Zeus Juice.
What a beautiful swing as well. That really soared them into the lead there. They're now a couple thousand XP and about 2,000 gold in the lead now. Whereas just before, they had been a slightly down overall. But now they've got an advantage to be working with. They can absolutely continue applying that pressure, especially as we're going into late game. They're going to be in a good position as they can finish off all of their final items a half item before the Boony Gang, and that can absolutely give them an advantage that they'll need here.
Yeah, the objectives on the board right now, Pyromancer will be up before the Oni Fury, and Fire Giant is still currently up. Interestingly enough, we are seeing that the farm is a little bit more important. We're getting the pressure out. Boony Gang trying to utilize what words they have to get information, as it looks like Olive will get a little bit of damage onto him, but nothing there. Go into lane. A little bit back and forth. Margiela stepping up there, getting the cudgel in. But pressure is as pressure does, but it's not going to be the end of the world. As now the call goes out, hey guys, we should probably set up for Pyromancer here. And if they're not going to fight, maybe we'll even start taking a look at Fire Giant.
Considering that they do have that slight lead, they can absolutely afford to go for this and either force the Boony Gang to take this fight on them, or just risk them getting this Fire Giant. As we see another Scuffle coming out, Hood and Cage as well coming in under the front line of Boony Gang. We see that Phantom Veil popped as well, as Subkiller is taking a lot of damage from Home Sweet Home. Margio wound up picking up the kill with that cudgel, just smacking him down into the gray screen. Margio taking a little bit of damage though, he's now half health. Drunk Diplomat in the back line, he's going to be called out, forced to burn beads. Odin puts in a lot of damage. Before it's about 8, so we see continuing so Phenomenal as well, popped out. Rudy Epla coming out onto the back line as well. Rylan getting very low, wound up falling. Margio wound up picking up the kill on a Drunk Diplomat though. Washing Machine Jin Chen coming out to force him to the tower, but they'll be able to get out of that one. As now, he's first back out. We see a Gordon blink in, Justin who's shutting him down immediately to jump in. Another rushing team fight in favor of the Zeus Juice.
At the end of the day, it's 3 for 1, and they did just rise, so Fire Giant isn't the call here. The Pyromancer, well, in Zeus, well played. Again, you see player damage still squarely on the side of Boony Gang, as the top 2 damage dealers, 12-9 and 12-850 on Boony Gang, but there's 3 players with 12k on Zeus Juice, just slightly below the top 2. So overall, more damage over towards Zeus Juice, but as we are being shown, Draugr still up, not being utilized by either team at this point, and it is a tempting target, but it looks like the Oni Fury is going to be the more tempting target, and Boony Gang will start that up here. Game number 1 between Zeus Juice and Boony Gang.
Margio will start off this contest by blinking into the Boony Gang. He will be forced to file that Somersault Cloud, super low HP. Home Sweet Home is out as well. We saw Jing Shin his washing machine again. And the scuffle continues. Odin Cage is coming out as well with a huge pickup. Rama coming out trying to pick off the low HP Margel in the back. River Justin, who is also low. River's Rebuke coming out to try and force them off. But Oni Fury is still up and Boony Gang is still healthy. They have considerably full health bars. Number 2 though, but we do see a lot of damage coming out from Justin. And now the dive is on. Margiela taking a lot of damage in the backline. He'll end up falling to suboptimal, getting that first kill of this scuffle. That's going to be the direction that Boony Gang wants to go first in these fights. As now, Justin is getting very low as we see him dive in from the front line. Sub will end up picking up the second kill onto Justin as we see Justin who falling to Drunk Diplomat as well. Drunk Diplomat will pick up the double onto Olive, although we see through the rocks come out. Rylan just trying to survive. Will end up picking up a Corrin as well as Drunk Diplomat, but it will be a 3 for 5 trade in favor of the Boony Gang.
Yep, Boony Gang squarely winning that team fight. Well done overall. Very low health bars. You saw it took absolutely everything they had to try and get that victory in the team fight, and they were able to pull it out. Now, Oni Fury is there, ready for the taking. Castler still on the Raijin, has the damage, able to be done. But there's a lot of low respawn timers. They're all going to be up in 17 seconds. They've got to get this taken care of.
Although we gotta take care of this Draugr though. He's still up. Boyo shown as the Draugr once more as Oni Fury is being picked up by Boony Gang. But I just want to give a quick shout out to Rylan. He was facing down the barrel 1v4 and still managed to pick out 2 of them. What a valiant effort.
I mean, he almost had more too. There were some very low
They were
health bars there.
extremely low.
Yeah, and I mean, he just didn't have the health to continue. If he had just a little bit more on him, I don't see how he doesn't pick at least 2 or 3 up in that fight. But Again, that's sort of the way the cookie crumbles. The carries get focused and just wasn't able to pull it out in the end.
Reg, updating stream title real quick. Somebody just pointed that out.
Yes, will do.
I also saw, who was it that said it? Sandman Samuel said a frag fiesta. It has been quite a brawl so far this game. A lot of action. They are absolutely mollywopping on each other pretty consistently. And so far, it's still very, very close. It could go either way. Although we now have Boony Gang starting up the pull on Fire Giant. Zeus is trying to contest. Boony Gang will end up dropping Fire Giant to start engaging, but now forcing Zeus to be a little bit more careful with how they engage, as they do have the Oni minions on the right lane there, the solo side of the map. They can work with that pressure. Sadly, they don't have the minion pressure on the duo side of things, but they do have control of the Fire Giant pit. They have plenty of wards across the floor, as Meiju ends up blinking in, will end up forcing the beats out of Rylan. He's gonna have to be careful. Odin will end up jumping in, popping Cage. Xing Chen ulting as well onto Rylan, forcing the beats. Rama ult coming up. Margio will end up picking up Caster in the backline. He will end up falling early. Very early kill for Zeus. Get ready to pick up his home pops in the corner. Will end up picking up Justin though, as we see Aegis being popped as well. Justin, who will end up picking out Drunk Diplomat now the damage is gone. Corn is gonna have to. Corn won't be able to do it though. Margio will end up picking him out, as now Subkiller is about quarter to 30 HP. He's gonna have to be backing out. Destiny, quarter HP. He can't stay any longer. Zeus Juice picking up a 1-for-3 trade in the Fire Giant pit.
Yep, and they know exactly what the objective needs to be. They get the kills, they push people out, and here comes the call. It's Fire Giant, but Subkiller has his say here, and he is going to start working his way around. He's just going to be a general nuisance, as that Achilles still has enough in his toolkit to steal the Fire Giant away if they allow him to. So they're going to drop the FG, go right on top of it, but Rapid Carnation isn't going to allow it. He's actually going to keep the Fire Giant at half health. Here comes the problem, though, as Xing Chen still on the backside. Destiny is there. Here comes the washing machine. Spin,
off Fire Giant. Odin Cage comes out, and he will end up falling to Justin, who, but Fire Giant is still active, being pulled just a little bit longer. Nobody dropping yet. We've been desperately wanting this. Both Rylan and Autumn continue to take it, and it will end up falling to Zeus Juice, as Subco will finally fall, as well as Castle getting picked out by Justin, who this is a bad sign for the Boony Gang.
That's a lot of damage on that too. He used to have a full health bar. Now he has nothing but the grave awaiting for him when he hits the ground. And that means he's going to hit 6 feet under. So now tier 2 on the right-hand side going to be the target for Zeus Juice. And just take a look at those graphs. XP difference in the 12k range, gold difference almost 5k. And Phoenix now on the table for Zeus Juice. They can take this one away. Very little distraction. Already down to half health. Goodbye to that bird. And they will look for even more, as they still have a good amount of time on that Fire Giant buff.
It's still very healthy, and they're going to be able to just wipe the rest of the T2 towers here. A little bit of an unnecessary River's Rebuke from Bojo, forcing them off of Phoenix. But, I mean, they certainly secured that Phoenix.
Yeah, that was kind of the number one thing. You make sure you push down the right, got the tier 2, gets the Phoenix at the end, get a mid-tier 2. Now Pyromancer going to be called here. That will be started up very shortly. But Zeus Juice kind of overstaying a little bit, as now Primal is about to come up, and Boony Gang is already there and ready to go. They have the Oracles right there, done and dusted, and here comes the Primal. They're not going to let it live. They will pick this one up without contestation.
Very, very near being able to contest with that. They hadn't even made it to red buff at the time that the Primal Fury was already gone. Sadly, I don't know if it'll be enough. Boony Gang is in a little bit of a deficit here in this game 1. Right now, they're going to have to do quite a bit of climbing to get back in his position to take this game back. The team fights coming out from Zeus Juice have been really dominant.
The way
It's been
opens.
really hard for Boony Gang. They've only really gotten a couple good team fights where they won. They're gonna have to shift something a little bit here to try and survive this next upcoming team fight. As Zeus Juice is just using the lanes of their fire to push up the dual land. They just took the T2. Now they're looking at Phoenix. All five of them still have fire dip. We see Jing Chen coming in with the washing machine, forcing the beads off of Ryland. Marjo ended up picking up Casser in the backline once again. No Cage coming out as well. Marjo ended up picking up Destiny as well. That's 2 down already for the Boony Gang. And Phoenix is already below half HP. He will end up falling. That's some fried chicken tonight. Now we have a very low HP Drunk Diplomat who ends up falling to Justin, who we see Major trying to pick up some kills, but he won't be able to do anything as he's sent straight to Muspelheim. And now Titan is on the docket. Major taking a lot of damage. He has to get out of there. Now Corrin is going to try and defend the Titan, but to no avail. And Zeus Juice will take game number 1.
A minute shy of a half hour, 26-14, the final score on the kills, and Zeus Juice picks up game number 1. And that one was kind of an interesting game. You saw if everything kind of was going slowly and normally and kind of the way you expected, it almost seemed like Boony Gang had everything well in hand. But as soon as the team fights hit, the objectives started needed to be playing around. If you needed something big, the big moments really came out of Zeus Juice.
Especially with those team fights, it was all that they needed to get the lockdown on the objectives. That was really, I think, the number one thing that they did super well. Their team fights transitioned extremely well. May have been a little bit patchy of an early game and laning phase, but once it hit the team fights and they were starting to group up, they were taking victories left and right. Boony Gang not really able to keep up with it too well. They're definitely going to have to shift that up if they want to take this game number 2.
Yeah, definitely needs to go back on the drawing board with a couple of ideas there. Aquarin really was never able to get as aggressive as he needed to be in that Osiris jungle role. Drunk Diplomat, though, had a good battle with Rai, very, very even. Just when it came down to team fights, Rai was able to free cast, free throw his axe as much as he kind of wanted to. And Drunk Diplomat not as much later on as the game progressed, but we'll see if Boony Gang can make it back and getting ready for game number 2.
Hmm. And it looks like we are going to be back from our break as we're actually going to be going into picks and bans. I don't know if Poyo is back just yet, so our screen is going to be a little bit lagging behind. I apologize, chat. But we're jumping right in. We have Boony Gang banning out the Sobek first. They don't want to see that at all. Once again, Sobek is a very, very strong pickup. He's just been a solid support pretty much all season. He's always been really solid. Great CC, great setup for his team. Speaking of, though, we have Soul being banned out as well. Another very strong god, consistently been performing well.
Yep, and we're not seeing anything really change so far. Soul was banned out again. Sobek, Loki also bans from first game, and now here comes Morgan Le Fay and the respect. You better put some spect on it, man. As Odin, gonna be the third ban from Boony Gang.
Who do you, oh, no, never mind. There goes Gumesh. We have Tiamat. Yep, there's the Tiamat. That was a very quick lock-in. Tiamat actually getting through. I'm surprised
I
we
should have
see
created a world
the
that you do
Tiamat
not
being let through
exist
picks and
in.
bans.
Well, remember the Tiamat was the ban by Boony Gang in the first game. The bans did
They,
not change for Zeus Juice, and they decided to ban the Odin instead. So it was either the Gilgamesh or the Tiamat. They kind of said, which one do you want? And they said, fine, you can have the Tia.
although Zeus used to end up picking up the Umoja, and they will take the Osiris this time.
Tremble beneath the waves!
Interesting that the Zeus opts to pick up Osiris instead of letting the Boony Gang get their hands on it. Excuse me, this game.
Yeah, even after seeing what Aquarin was able to do on it, I'm not sure if that was unless they really wanted the Osiris. They really wanted the Osiris. Let's see what Justin is going to be
I
able to
will
do
leave
on it.
standing no
As
barrier
King
to our
Arthur
success.
now going to be the lock-in for Boony Gang and Ganesh. Ganesh has kind of fallen out of favor a little bit this season. More warriors being picked up, lots of aggressive gods being picked up, but I mean, Ganesh can be played aggressive if you really want to. So we'll see what Boony Gang is able to do here with that Ganesh pickup. They probably just want to hear all of the elephant puns we make throughout the game too.
Niflheim!
Absolutely. I really think that they did. They knew we were gonna have to do it. Although Zeus just wound up banning the Rama out. Boony Gang opting to take out the Sun Wukong. Couple of target bans coming out this time around. Going into this game too. It's gonna be interesting. We see on her banned again by the Zeus Juice. So they do still have that carry slot open. I'm interested to see who will they end up picking. I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see a Artemis picked up.
Artemis wouldn't be bad. Izanami wouldn't be bad. Chernobog wouldn't be bad. Really anything, if you wanted to go bull build, if you wanted to go attack speed, anything with a stim, generally speaking, is very, very good. Artemis has the strongest stim in the game. Rama is 2, and believe it or not,
Oh, Apollo.
Hachiman is 3.
Apollo.
Apollo's passive is good, but it does not have the on-call ability as the standard abilities of the other 3.
I'm a monster!
Mic feedback
True,
on.
but it
Mic
is
on.
100%. Although we do end up seeing Zeus Juice pick up the
Mic
Scylla
feedback
this game.
off. Mic off.
Very, very high damage. Hachiman, you said it. Hachiman is actually being hovered right now.
And again, it's whether or not they want to pick up that stim. If they want to be able to have the attack speed, if they knew that that's what they want, it makes sense. But Yep, looks like it is going to be the Hachiman picked up and Arachne being hovered.
I will win peace by force.
Will they lock in the Arachne is the question, though. I think Arachne would have a little bit of a hard time fitting into this game. Cirquet now being hovered instead. Yeah, I'm not sure Arachne is the greatest matchup into this team because they do certainly have the
This is
ability to
one
get out of it.
tail you don't want to chase, darling.
That
Mercury
one,
now
on the other hand,
New toy, so exciting!
as the Circuit actually going to be picked up here.
will they lock in that Mercury? I would love to see some Mercury.
It is very strong right now, especially if you do pick up that attack speed and a lot of movement speed items. So we'll see what Mercury is able to do if they do indeed decide to pick it up. More of late game than early game. So we'll see how this finishes.
I'm still expecting to see some great things from it, though.
If it is indeed the Mercury, we're going to see. And it
It
looks like it will
is.
be. So there's our lineups right there. Yamoja, Osiris, Heimdall, Scylla, and Mercury up against Ganesh, Tiamat, Serket, King Arthur, and Hachiman. All right, everybody, get your votes in. Who do you think is going to win game number 2? You got 2 minutes for the prediction. Let's see how it goes.
My boy Snatty in the chat saying that Zeus Juice has the draft this time, but he's betting for Boony anyway. It's always good to see Snatty in the chat. Welcome back, Snatty. Let's see who we end up getting as we're going into game number 2. So, what are you thinking, Red? What are your predictions for this?
I really like Zeus Juice. I really like the front to back. I like the engage that they can have. I like the objective secure. Um, there's really not a ton of objective secure on Boony Gang. It's a little sus to me. They do have a good front line as long as King Arthur can get very, very tanky very, very quickly, which, of course, it is sub killer, and he is known for that, King Arthur. The engagement and the AoE, that area of control that the ultimate from the Ganesh has, can also do some damage. As much as I like what Boony Gang has there, if it's strictly a 5v5 team fight, I like Zeus Juice. If it devolves into less than that, if it's broken fights, if we're just pushing lanes, if we have a split push, I kind of like Boony Gang. So I'm going to go with Zeus Juice just purely on the team fight capability.
If we can just hop back over and look at the builds for just a moment, did I see Fighter? Yep, I see Fighter's Mask on
Minions
King
have
Arthur.
spawned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
That is a sub killer who's out for blood.
It absolutely is. Both solo laners picking up beads, Fighter's Mask, 4 health pots, 2 multi-pots. Oh my goodness. I can't believe he's actually running. This is going to be an interesting solo lane we see coming out, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it ends up turning out, as we do see Tiamat against Dilla in the mid lane, though. I think Tiamat is going to be able to get a decent lead from King Arthur hitting a quick level 2, as we see big scuffles coming out. Barely picking up the kill on the Margiela. He has to be less than 40 HP.
He's probably like 20 with that little sliver there. Holy cow. Now he is able to heal back. He did have some pots on him. Good grief. Talk about absolutely knowing your limit and delivering. As Harai is backed into a corner, you can dip, dash, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge. But at the end, something's got to give. And it looks like Drunk Diplo will be able to pick up the 2K on the side there.
Oh my goodness.
2 for 1, the engagement over in the duo lane. And last game was sort of a fiesta. This one is definitely going that fiesta route one more time.
It's always a fiesta with these boys. Gotta love the Boony gang. And I'm not saying that because I'm on the Miners team, but I'm saying because it's always a riot playing with these guys.
And I have no vested interest in any team, and it's just interesting and fun to watch. The engagement potential. They take fights. They want to be in your face. I mean, even Margiela over here is getting pressured up by Subkiller, and he's just like, you know, I will do what I can. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna pressure you. I'm gonna do something, even though I'm under tower. So kudos to them on that, but when they can't get one way, they're going to try and move other. But I am actually kind of surprised that both Subkiller and the duo lane of Drunk Diplomat and Destiny here have been able to both get pressure at the same time. Usually there's some pressure relief one way or another, but here comes Serket over here. And now Margiela in a bit of trouble as he is down below half health. Serket does come over Corrin looking around, but no engagement thus far.
Man, that was a really aggressive invade from Soka, and they're just continuing to invade as they're now on the yellow buff. Scylla down here. You're in a yellow buff, and we have a very low Justin who takes a lot of damage. He's gonna have to jump out. The Corrin also taking quite a bit of damage, as we now have a 3v3 up in Zeus Juice's jungle by the yellow buff. Although Zertag getting extremely low, Corrin will end up getting picked out by Margiela. Beautiful sickle strike on that one.
Yeah, that was well timed. Measuring it just out at the end of the dash. Well done. Well done on that one.
Beautiful pickup from Margiela. Subkiller now, he's out of mana. King Arthur with no mana is not a good thing. It is a terrible feeling. And especially with a big wave coming up, Margiela right there, he's going to be looking for that blue buff, and it is ripe for the picking.
Yeah, normally speaking, you know, the previous King Arthur build was the Bluestone, which gave a little bit more MP5. Oh man, the 3-man rotation ultimate, or the 3v1, Margiela will fall, so it is going to be a 1v1 as a Corrin will get the counter kill there. Drunk Diplo will get Rai, and now the chase is on. Rapid Carnation trying to get the stun, get something onto Drunk Diplo.
He's just weaving.
Yeah, the dodge is there, the weave is there, the
chase.
Oh my goodness. Justin who said, nope, I don't have the mana to worry about this. I'm not going to do this at all. I don't even have any CC and I'm just backing away.
He was swerving around that jungle like a true drunk. Great unpredictable pattern though. That's one way to escape it. Actually, we just saw Boony Gang actually was able to steal Margiela's blue buff. Interesting and very well played, catching that kind of attention. So we do have another scuffle coming in. Lord of the Afterlife coming out onto Central. He's taking a lot of damage. He has to get out of there right now. Margiela just facing him down. Beautiful stun under the tower though. Subkiller and Margiela both low HP. We have a Scylla though. Rotating over from the mid lane here, trying to catch him in the back tower. Mercurial going in as well onto Subkiller. He's now on 1v3 under his own tower. We see Mercury almost falling. Scylla ult on Monster coming out as well. And another stun. He falls. Justin falls. That is 3 for 1 ults and a 1 for nothing trade. Subkiller is gonna quite quickly turn into that raid boss that we see him do so Destiny. No.
Let's just, let's rub some salt in the wound. And Draugr's still sitting there. Nobody wants to play with him.
Poor Draugr, man. Every child deserves to be loved. Oh lord. Taking a look at the graph, so we see a 3k XP lead and a 2.5k gold lead for the Boony gang going into this game too. They're doing a lot better from game 1 so far.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, I think this pickup, as weird as it might sound, I think this pickup of the Ganesh has actually been the impetus that they've needed. There's a little bit more engaged. The silence has come out, and it gives enough security for Destiny to get in and get out without too much damage. Now, just as I say that, he decides to overstay his welcome a little bit over in the mid lane, but nothing too bad as he will have a little bit of help. But I'm a Monster will crush him down.
We also saw Through the Realms come out, as well as River's Rebuke. 3 ultimates to pick up Destiny. Will it be worth it though? Subkiller kind of low on the mana. He's gonna be engaging on Martial anyway, as we do see the jungle here and ready to help him just in case. Martial taking a lot of damage from Subkiller. Subkiller also taking some of his own damage though, as we do see.
Things are coming out. So there's the reverse gank as Olive comes over to support, points out that the Circuit is over there, and the engagement will come to naught. And they will go to their respective buffs.
That particular scuffle is coming to a close now, as the red buff is just going to be shown on the ground, because, you know, Tiamat.
Tiamat realizes she'll come back. Subkiller does get the ultimate on there. Margiela gets very low once again. And Drunk Diplo gonna get soloed by Rai!
That is a huge pickup for Rylan. That is exactly what he needed to get himself back into this game. Drunk Diplomat was 2 levels up, actually.
Now Margiela getting...
he got a little bit
soloed.
Although we have quite a bit of rotation coming out. Sub getting another kill onto Justin, who Justin in the area picking up Subkiller though. Very unfortunate. The mid laners here once again. Tiamat is on the way though. She's just behind. Very close to dead though. Corn is gonna have to get out of dodge immediately.
Ultimate utilized, but it was just enough of the stun to be able to get him into range to dash away, and that Circuit will live to fight another day. So again, the rotation's coming over. Castler on this Tiamat just being a general nuisance, but here we go. What you guys have been waiting for. Drunk Diplo against Rai one more time. Rai looks like he's got the advantage, and Drunk Diplo goes through Muspelheim, passes through the realms, and now he will fall one more time.
Another solo kill for Rai. He is just dominating all the time. A lot of pings coming out though. They recognize it. Castler is here to cause some trouble, but not gonna really do too much though. He's low HP and the chase is on, but he's already a little bit far. River's Rebuke coming out, of course, to get off of this chase though. Does he not want to completely give it up as he drops Dharmic though? As Mercury bolting in as I'm a Monster comes out just and finalizing the kill on the Destiny. Tried to pick up a Corrin, but he ends up jumping out just in the nick of time.
you hate to see it. The 3v1, Destiny getting focused down there. He had his ult, everything was there, it was all set up. And I think there may have been a small lack of communication there. As his teammates were around, but they were able to drop one of the buffs there. Kind of sad to see. I was hoping that we'd have a good team fight over there in the jungle, but unfortunately Destiny gets picked up. And now it looks like Zeus Juice has clawed their way back into this one more time.
Yeah, a lot of comments coming out in the chat though. Destiny held dash under Yamoja ult. That is a player-made wall.
Yeah, it is.
Snatty says that he's conditioning him, and late game he's actually gonna dash through the wall. Destiny.
Yeah,
That's a player-made wall.
you never know. You never know.
Maybe Snake Way. Maybe he's just conditioning them. Maybe he's actually gigantic brain, and I'm just a small brain.
Cooldowns. We'll call it cooldown diff.
We'll call it cool.
Yeah.
Once again, we got solo going in on the solo things. Another ultimate from Subkiller. He's coming out from Margiela once more. His mystical mail isn't enough to give him that weight pressure back. Lord of the Afterlife comes out. Up, down, not able to connect on anything. I'm a monster coming out, as well as the Merc ult feeds from Subkiller. Double stun though, and Excalibur's Light not gonna be enough to get him out. Just enough to pick up that killer's PC. Things him out. Zeus just steals the Cold Fury.
Right with the steal. Oh, the Heimdall. That was as perfect as you could have placed it, and that is heartbreaking for Boony Gang. Zeus Juice gets a Pyromancer on the other side as well, and what was a Boony Gang advantage now swings into a Zeus Juice lead. 3k on the XP difference, just over 1200 in the gold difference. And now, as these fights are continuing, as the ultimate is forced out of Drunk Diplomat, Rai still very good, and boom! There it is. Drunk Diplo has to go and negotiate how to get out of that fountain one more time.
Oh no. You had the lead. This is not. It started out so well too.
Yeah, it was looking very, very good for Boony Gang. They were playing through their solo lane. They were playing towards that jungle side of things. Destiny is there with Olive one more time. But you saw Boony Gang starting to make those decisions, working on the farm, again, pushing that little advantage more and more and more. But when it came to the big team fight, when it came to the objective, Zeus just is stealing away again. Here comes a 4-man rotation. The Blink will come out. So the ultimate going to be used. River's Rebuke going to go for naught. But good trade there as Blink for ult. That Blink will be down for the next 2 minutes. As Subkiller has to play it a little bit more passive now on that King Arthur. What am I talking about? It's Subkiller. He's not going to play passive.
Not so much. It's Subkiller on King Arthur. As we see Lord of the Afterlife and Dharmic Pillars coming out both at the same time. Mercury also ulting on top of it. We've got Destiny very low. I'm a monster coming out trying to pick him out once again, but he will end up dodging out of that one. Team might continue to fight. Rylan will end up picking up Raijin on the dual lane again. Accord will end up picking up Justin as we see a very low HP. Caster will end up falling to Justin, who a lot of dodging and weaving around this small little pillar in the jungle though, as we see Destiny getting very low, trying to escape. So Cyrus Margiela end up picking up Destiny once and for all, as we now see Sub picking up Justin, who got a couple more low HP bars as the fight is continuing. Excalibur's Light coming in on Olive. He's so low, and Subkiller is also out of mana, getting chased down by this Osiris. He's gonna have to beat the stun to try and get away, but he's continuing to fall fast, trying to auto his way out. Margiela just picks him out, just doesn't care if the tower's on his back.
Yeah. Oh man, that is a rough one. That was an extended team fight between tanks trying to push things in a certain direction, and there's not much you can really say outside the fact that Boony Gang played it well, but Zeus Juice just played it that much better on that one. And still no love for the Draugr. Still no love for the Draugr. I mean, seriously, guys, it's such a great buff. Why aren't you at least picking it up for the farm?
At the bare minimum, give him a friend to play with.
Right?
Even just drop a little Nene Kappa over there. The poor man's a little money. That's really sad. Poor Draugr, man.
Or Draugr.
Draugr needs some love.
Starting to see the objectives come into a clearer picture now on the board as we start seeing 15s and 16s on the board, as Rai with a 2-level lead over Drunk Diplomat right now. This one here has gotten tough very quickly, and Destiny will get stuck. The Anima Monster comes out, but Destiny will fall, and that is one petrified Pachyderm. But Rai will get ganked by a Corrin over on the left-hand side. Drunk Diplomat will back. He is going to be able to survive for the time being. The ultimate going to be used. A Corrin going to get stunned, tossed, thrown over, and now he'll have to dash away and leap. And he will get stunned now by the Emoja, very low, and bye-bye to the Surcat. The Scorpion will fold her tail and run away one more time.
We also saw, or I at least heard, Lord of the Afterlife to jump over a wall. We see Rivers of Youth trying to get feeding off his Primal Fury. They're not willing to give him up just yet. They continue to fight for the world. Extremely low. Mercury, he's gonna have to pull the beat to aid it up with anything of Justin New. Drunk Diplomat survives the onslaught from Margiela. No more than 100 HP. Dharmic Pillars coming out as we see Scylla dashing out of it, using her little escape. But unfortunately, Olive won't be so fortunate. He'll end up falling to Castler. Now Ryland's back in town, and he means business. He is here to turn this fight back in favor of the Zeus Juice. Him and Justin are on a mission. That Primal Fury is not going to fall on their watch. Major not going to let that go, though. He's going to be throwing out a lot of damage onto them. It's a 4v2, and now Boony Gang is going to opt to try and start pulling this Primal Fury with Justin and Ryland right here. Justin who just wants to make his way over as quickly as he can. But they're going to drop the Primal Fury. Boony Gang is going to continue looking for the Zeus Juice in a very extended fight, and it will not turn well. Justin will end up getting dunked. Ends up picking up... Oh my goodness, Ryland will pick up Kazzer as well. This is turning out very bad for Boony Gang. This extended fight turned out the worst case scenario. Dharmic Pill is trying to get Destiny out, but there's just no hope for him.
There is the Deicide and Boony Gang. That's one of those things where you see Zeus Juice loses the team fight. You see them make the mistakes. You see them execute poorly. And there were a couple of decisions there that kind of you had to question and go, wait a second, you know, Zeus Juice, you had these advantages. You needed the team fight. You needed to split off effectively, and Boony Gang just beat them to it. But then they're chasing kills, and it wasn't the tanks. It's not like they were going toe-to-toe with tanks. They were trying to kill off the Heimdall, who was just free casting at them, trying to get the Scylla, who was just dashing and dipping, not being a very easy target to hit. And at the end of it, they stay alive long enough for the respawn timers to come. Justin Who pops in, Rapid Carnation comes back, Margiela shows up, and all of a sudden what was a 2v4 is now 5v2, and Boony Gang just loses the extended fight.
Very, very unfortunate for the Boony Gang. It seems to me as though somebody made to continue going for that dive, and they all jumped on it. Unfortunately, it just didn't turn out the way that they were hoping. That extended fight did not turn out well at all for them. They stayed just a bit too long, and they ended up getting team wiped and lost not only the Primal Fury, but the Fire Giant. And that is
Yeah,
not,
that is
not
a
good
tough
thing.
call. Especially this late in the game where one big mistake like that can cost. I mean, and it did. It cost the Fury, it cost the Fire Giant, it cost the Pyromancer, and now you're looking at Tier 1 falling. Tier 2 is now going to be on the docket. Tier 2 and left has already gone down. That Draugr buff is still waiting for a friend.
Yeah,
I mean,
Zeus just got every single objective on the map except for Draugr. Poor Draugr, man. Show him some love.
I mean, if I don't know if this is probably the best thing to try and defend this turret or this tower right now. You're kind of spread out, and there is the engagement, so you got 4 going into the tower, and Margiela on this Osiris is just going to be an absolute nuisance. They are not going to defend it.
Did you say turret? What is this, Dota?
No, League of Legends.
Oh man, he's low to the Afro and Mercury both holding antidote. Those are now trying to save Drunk Diplomat. Super low HP. Rubes be coming out. Caster end up picking up a kill. Ocorn will end up falling as well as Destiny. Just in big numbers in the background. It's going to be a race to defend this Phoenix, but through the realms coming out onto Subclear. But he will end up having to beat out of that Scylla, chasing him and throwing on a lot of damage. He's going to have to get out of that one quick. And now, Caster and Drunk Diplomat are going to have to figure out some sort of defense. They're not going to be in the most ideal situation. With it being a 3v4, and Zeus still having that Fire Giant active, it's not going to be a good situation for the defenders like Phoenix. Use that pressure. No, Zeus Juice really showing in full force. Subkiller taking massive taking out a chunk of his health bar. Boony Gang still putting up a valiant defense, forcing them to get off of the Phoenix. Unfortunately, the mid lane Phoenix did end up falling, as well as 2 of their team members, and they only were able to take out Justin Who from the Zeus Juice.
Barrage.
I apologize if anybody heard that though.
23 minutes, 20 seconds into this one. 23-17 our score, at least kills wise, in favor of Zeus Juice. 1 tier 2 tower left up, 2 Phoenixes still alive. This one, I mean, the defense is on at this point. Boony Gang have to be able to hold out and somehow find a way to turn this. Where do you see Boony Gang being able to potentially turn something here, Jerry? Is there at least a glimmer of hope for them?
I think if they're able to pull off a good steal on either this Oni Fury or even the Fire Giant coming up in less than 30 seconds, that could absolutely be the tide that they need. But the Oni Fury is falling so quickly to Zeus, they've already taken it. Now, they need a really strong defense. Unfortunately, they don't have a very strong siege defense team. But the blink coming out from Ocorn, he is being chased down to the ends of the earth. River's Rebuke coming out onto Subkiller. He's going to have to blink out of that one. Beautiful blink. Just getting out alive. They're in a very bad spot as Fire Giant is spawning now. Zeus Juice is prepared for this fight. They are ready for this Fire Giant. Boony Gang not in a position to contest too much. This would be the steal that they need. If they can get a good team fight here, they can absolutely turn this game around. But
They do have all their ultimates up. It's not going to be there in time. Zeus Juice will pick up the Fire Giant. Now the chase is on. Here we go. 4v5. Make it 5v5. And Rai sends Drunk Diplomat to Muspelheim. Sorry, sends a Quarren to Muspelheim. Drunk Diplomat was back in base. Quarren getting chased down now by Justin Who. And here comes the Mercury trying to kill the Circuit, but the junglers haven't at it. And as much as the fight was broken into two, it really was a Corrin going one way and everybody else kind of headed towards base. Justin, who's still on the chase here as Mercury, supposed to be fastest in the game, will finally get them. And now Corrin will fall. Circat heading back to the fountain, and now 4v5 the defense for Boony Gang on this left side, Phoenix.
Big fuck, did I just see an E-step on Silver? I'm sorry, you said what?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Rylan will end up picking up Sip Killer. I'm gonna go back to the D-step. Boony Gang in a very unfortunate situation as now Caster is falling quick. Tiamat just trying to waste a little bit more time, not being able to survive the onslaught. Just gets that kill, and the call for game is out now. They are out for blood. Nobody on Boony Gang left alive. Jumped him on. Freaking bursted down there. Justin, I'm a monster, will secure the kill on Destiny. That's 5 on Tide. Zeus Juice is getting a crushing victory against the Boony Gang.
And that is all she wrote. Sad, sad Draugr, as nobody wanted to play with him this game, but Zeus Juice had plenty to play with. 28-17 the final score, 26.5 minutes on that game clock. That one, not too bad, and of course, Subkiller didn't want to do much, because after all, he had the perfect score. Oh wait, the sub-perfect score.
We are going to have to address the elephant in the room on this one. Destiny picking up the Ganesh was certainly what they needed in the early game, but in the end, their team fight was just not strong enough to compete with the onslaught coming out from the Zeus Juice.
And honestly, I don't put that at the... I really don't put that at the feet of Boony Gang as much as I put that at Zeus Juice, because Drunk Diplomat tried as hard as he could, but could not, at the end of all things, could not get any of the damage. You need to be able to have sustained sustained basic hits in order to turn the team fights. Rai was able to do that. He had plenty of time to pick people off, to work through things, to get the basics off. Drunk Diplomat never had that time. He kept getting dove. He kept getting pushed. Justin knew who he was going after. Rai knew exactly what he was going after. Justin knew exactly where to lay the crushes. He was always going to be at the feet of Drunk Diplomat. And I mean, his 6 deaths kind of show that. He was being targeted throughout that game. Him and even Subkiller. Subkiller kind of, I mean, the 666 score line it's kind of unfair, just because you knew that he was trying as best as he could to deal damage, to create separation, but he got caught out alone a few times, just trying to keep his team in these fights. And, you know, at the end of it, it just wasn't enough to pull out a victory. So GG's to both sides, but well done to Zeus Juice for the 2-0 set victory.
And I said I would come back to it. Justin picking up E-Staff on Scylla. I'm going to go ahead and stop myself at saying that it is very unusual. I'm going to go ahead and stop myself there on that one. Not an item you see very frequently.
So I have someone in the back of my mind, but who do you think is your MVP for this set tonight?
For this full set. I think I'm going to have to go with Rylan for this set. He was able to turn around the early lead that Drunk Diplomat had and completely flip him on his own head and just took away with it. And going into late game, he was able to just demolish everything. And through his ultimate, he was able to just get perfect setup and just completely remove them from the game, one person at a time. And they just never had to worry about that one person because they knew Rylan had more than enough damage output to just take them out of that fight. And he absolutely utilized it perfectly. I have to say Rylan is my MVP. He had the damage numbers. He had the free cast.
Yep, and I'm gonna go right there along with you. Rai is my MVP as well. Really played well in game number one. Showed that he could come back and even win the lane or win late game against Drunk Diplomat. And then in game number two, just kept his finger on the pulse, was always very close, started pulling away, and just throwing axes across the map, dealing the damage, getting absolutely everyone shredded. Um, just well done to Rai. I mean, that's not to say that, Olive on the Emoja or Marge on the Osiris did not play their respective roles very well at the same time. Um, but at the end of the day, you can only pick one MVP, and I got to give it to Rai.
Very true. I agree absolutely. Rye's throwing arm this set was absolutely on point, and I think he buried the hatchet quite well, signaling to everybody that he was going to be the better player in this particular case. He absolutely took away with it.
Yep.
I yeah, I don't think there's anybody else I could give it to.
Yeah, and at that, I don't know. Any last thoughts before we sign off for the night?
All I have is GG's to both teams. Great plays from everybody. That was beautiful set to watch. A lot of brawling going out, but it was still a fantastic game. Great plays on both sides again. They just Zeus just took it away for a 2-0 victory.
Yep, and well done again to both sides. GG's, but especially to Zeus Juice with a 2-0 victory here. Week number 4 of season 3 in the QSL. I'm Red Sniper 23. Joining me was Jeering Lamb as my number 1 and Poyo on the camera. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We will see you back here tomorrow for another set. We actually have one every single night, tonight, Thursday, and Friday, coming up for you guys. So stay tuned, and we will see you all another night. Have a good one, and
Have a good
remember,
night, everyone.
we'll see you later.